The San Francisco fog rolled through the financial district like a silk curtain, muffling the sounds of the Monday morning rush. Maya Chen sat at her desk on the 42nd floor of the Sterling Tower, her fingers hovering over the keyboard as she stared at the email that would haunt her for weeks to come. Subject: wedding invitation. David and Jennifer. She'd spent the entire weekend crafting the perfect response, polite, professional, just enthusiastic enough to prove she'd moved on from David Park, her ex-boyfriend of 3 years. The man who'd left her for Jennifer Walsh, a blonde marketing coordinator who wore pastel cardigans and talked about finding balance while posting motivational quotes on Instagram. Maya had deleted and rewritten her acceptance email 17 times. She would go to their wedding in Martha's Vineyard. She would wear something stunning. She would prove that breaking up with her had been David's loss, not hers. The problem was the guest list spreadsheet open in her other window. As executive assistant to Victoria Ashford, CEO of TechVista, the artificial intelligence startup that had just secured $200 million in Series C funding, Maya managed hundreds of contacts: board members, investors, journalists. Her job required military-grade organizational skills, which made what happened next even more inexplicable. Maya clicked send on her wedding acceptance email, then immediately returned to formatting the quarterly investor report Victoria needed by noon. Her phone buzzed. Then again. Then a third time. Victoria Ashford. Maya, did you mean to send me a wedding invitation? The blood drained from Maya's face so quickly she thought she might faint. No. She grabbed her phone with shaking hands and opened her sent messages. There it was, in horrifying permanence. To Victoria Ashford, itechvista.com. From Maya, techvista.com. Subject: you're invited. David and Jennifer's wedding message. Dear Victoria, I would be honored if you could join me in celebrating this special occasion. The ceremony will be held at the Seaside Manor in Martha's Vineyard on June 15th. I've attached all the details. I do hope you can make it. It would mean the world to me. Warmest regards, Maya. Oh my God, Maya whispered, her vision tunneling. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. She'd been copying and pasting the invitation text to various friends. She must have clicked Victoria's name from her recent contacts instead of Vivian, her college roommate. Maya's hands trembled as she typed a response. Ms. Ashford, I am so sorry. That was meant for someone else. Please disregard. Total accident. 3 dots appeared. Disappeared. Appeared again. Victoria Ashford. Too late. I already accepted. See you in Martha's Vineyard, Maya. Maya stared at her phone like it had turned into a live snake. Victoria Ashford was coming to her ex-boyfriend's wedding. Victoria Ashford, who made grown men cry in board meetings. Who'd built TechVista from a garage startup to a unicorn in 4 years. Who wore custom-tailored suits that probably cost more than Maya's car. Who was so beautiful and intimidating that Maya sometimes forgot how to form complete sentences in her presence. That Victoria Ashford. The rest of the day passed in a blur of panic and damage control. Maya couldn't uninvite her own boss. She couldn't explain that this was her ex's wedding, and she'd only been invited out of some weird social obligation. She couldn't admit that she'd planned to show up solo, drink too much champagne, and spend the reception proving to David that she was thriving. By 6 p.m., Maya was the last person left on the 42nd floor. The office had that eerie after-hours stillness, all glass and chrome reflecting the city lights. You're still here. Maya jumped, knocking her coffee mug onto her keyboard. Victoria stood in the doorway of her office, briefcase in hand, looking impossibly composed despite the 14-hour workday they'd all endured. Yes. Just finishing the Henderson contract review. Maya frantically dabbed at her keyboard with napkins. Victoria walked closer, her heels clicking on the polished floor. She was tall, nearly 6 feet, with sharp cheekbones and dark hair cut in a precise bob that framed her face. At 42, she had the kind of presence that made people instinctively straighten their posture. About the wedding, Victoria said. Ms. Ashford, I really am sorry. I said I'm coming, Maya. I meant it. Victoria's gray eyes studied her with an intensity that made Maya's skin prickle. Unless you'd prefer I didn't? No. I mean, yes. I mean, you're welcome to come, of course. I just don't want you to feel obligated. I never do anything out of obligation. Victoria tilted her head slightly. I'm curious. Why did you accept an invitation to your ex-boyfriend's wedding? Maya felt her cheeks burn. Of course Victoria had figured it out. The woman missed nothing. It's complicated. Everything interesting is complicated. Victoria's lips curved into something that might have been a smile. I'll see you in Martha's Vineyard, Maya. Wear something memorable. She left, leaving behind the scent of her perfume, something expensive and woody that made Maya's head spin. 2 weeks later, Maya stood in her tiny Mission District apartment, staring at the 5 dresses hanging on her closet door. She'd spent her entire savings on this moment. The wedding was tomorrow, and she still hadn't figured out what qualified as memorable in Victoria Ashford's vocabulary. Her phone rang. Unknown number. Hello? Maya Chen? The voice was male, rough, with a Boston accent. Yes? You don't know me, but I need to talk to you about Victoria Ashford. She's not who you think she is. Maya's heart hammered. Who is this? Someone who's trying to keep you alive. Victoria Ashford has secrets, Ms. Chen. Dangerous ones. And if you're getting close to her, you need to know what she's capable of. We're not. She's my boss. That's all. Is it? The man laughed, but there was no humor in it. Then why is she really going to Martha's Vineyard with you? It's not for some wedding. Victoria Ashford doesn't waste time on social events unless there's something she wants. I think you have the wrong. Her real name isn't Victoria Ashford. 5 years ago, she didn't exist. Before Tech Vista, before San Francisco, she was someone else entirely. Someone dangerous. And whatever she's planning, you're part of it now. The line went dead. Maya stood frozen, phone pressed to her ear, her carefully planned weekend suddenly feeling like the setup to something much darker than she'd imagined. Outside her window, a black sedan idled at the curb. Its windows were too dark to see inside, but Maya had the unshakable feeling that someone was watching her apartment. When she looked again, the car was gone. What would you do if you received that phone call? Would you confront your boss, or pretend you never heard it? If you're already hooked, stick with me. This is just the beginning. The helicopter blades cut through the Martha's Vineyard sky like a promise of chaos. Maya stood on the lawn of the seaside manor, champagne glass frozen halfway to her lips, watching as the sleek black aircraft descended onto the helipad that she hadn't even known the venue had. Of course, Victoria Ashford didn't take commercial flights. Of course, she arrived in the most dramatic way possible. Is that your boss? David appeared at Maya's elbow, his boutonniere already slightly wilted in the June humidity. He looked exactly like he always had. Handsome in a forgettable way, with the kind of smile that had once made her feel special, but now just seemed rehearsed. Yep. Maya downed her champagne in one gulp. You invited your boss to my wedding? It's complicated. The helicopter touched down, and through the tinted windows, Maya could see Victoria's silhouette. She was wearing what appeared to be a charcoal suit, and Maya felt a perverse satisfaction that Jennifer's garden party chic dress code was about to be completely ignored. Victoria emerged from the helicopter like she was stepping onto a red carpet. The wind from the blades whipped her hair dramatically, and she'd paired the suit with heels so sharp they could probably be classified as weapons. She looked like she'd come to acquire a company, not celebrate a marriage. Maya's phone buzzed. Victoria Ashford. Where can I find you? Maya. By the bar. I'm the one having a panic attack. Victoria Ashford. Deep breaths. I'll be there in 3 minutes. Maya watched Victoria navigate the crowd of wedding guests with the efficiency of a shark moving through shallow water. Conversations paused as she passed. People straightened. Someone spilled their drink. Maya. Victoria reached her, and up close, Maya could see that her suit was even more exquisite than usual. A deep charcoal with subtle pinstripes that caught the light. You look beautiful. Maya glanced down at her emerald green dress, the one she'd finally chosen at 2 a.m. last night. You didn't follow the dress code. I never do. Victoria accepted a champagne flute from a passing waiter. Introduce me to the happy couple. The next hour was surreal. Victoria charmed David's father, a tech investor, into what sounded suspiciously like a business discussion. She complimented Jennifer's dress with just enough sincerity to seem polite, and just enough restraint to make it clear she thought it was hideous. She remembered names, asked intelligent questions, and made everyone feel simultaneously important and slightly inadequate. Maya watched it all with growing confusion. The phone call from 2 weeks ago played on repeat in her mind. She's not who you think she is. During the ceremony, Victoria sat beside Maya in the last row of white folding chairs. The ocean crashed against the cliffs below them, and a string quartet played something classical and forgettable. "Do you believe in marriage?" Victoria whispered, as the officiant droned on about eternal love. "I believe in the idea of it," Maya whispered back. "The reality seems more complicated." "Everything worthwhile is complicated." Maya glanced at her. Victoria was watching the ceremony, but her expression was distant, almost sad. For the first time since Maya had started working for her 2 years ago, Victoria Ashford looked vulnerable. "Are you okay?" Maya asked. Victoria's eyes snapped to hers. "Why do you ask? You seem, I don't know, distracted." "I'm always distracted. My mind runs in 6 directions simultaneously." But Victoria's hand found Maya's on the armrest between their chairs. Her fingers were cool, her grip firm. "Thank you for bringing me here." "I didn't technically bring you, Maya." Victoria's thumb traced a small circle on the back of Maya's hand. "Thank you." The officiant pronounced David and Jennifer husband and wife. Everyone applauded. Victoria let go of Maya's hand, and Maya felt the absence of her touch like a physical loss. The reception was held in the Manor's ballroom, a space of soaring ceilings and crystal chandeliers. Maya had just finished her 3rd glass of champagne when she noticed Victoria talking to a man she didn't recognize. He was in his 50s, gray-haired, wearing an expensive suit. But it was the way Victoria's entire body had gone rigid that caught Maya's attention. Her boss's face was carefully neutral, but her knuckles were white around her champagne flute. Maya drifted closer, pretending to examine the elaborate flower arrangements. "Didn't expect to see you here," the man was saying. His voice was smooth, cultured, with a hint of something Eastern European in his vowels. "Dimitri." Victoria's voice could have frozen nitrogen. "I could say the same. Still running from the past, I see. New name, new life. Very American of you, Katya." Maya's breath caught. "Katya." Victoria smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. "I have no idea what you're talking about." "Don't you?" Dimitri leaned closer. "How is the AI business? Building something revolutionary, I hear. Though I wonder if your investors know where you learned to code, or who taught you." "You should leave." "Oh, I will. But first..." He pulled out his phone, showed Victoria something on the screen. Maya couldn't see what it was, but she saw Victoria's reaction. A flicker of genuine fear. "That's impossible," Victoria breathed. "Is it? She's alive, Katya, and she's looking for you." Dimitri pocketed his phone and walked away, leaving Victoria standing alone by the champagne fountain. Her hands were shaking. Maya approached carefully. "Ms. Ashford?" Victoria spun, and for a split second, Maya saw something raw and terrified in her eyes before the professional mask slammed back into place. "Maya, how much did you hear?" "Enough to be confused. Who was that man?" "No one important." But Victoria's voice lacked its usual conviction. "He called you Katya." Victoria's jaw tightened. "This isn't the place for this conversation." "Then where is?" Maya surprised herself with her boldness. Maybe it was the champagne. Maybe it was 2 weeks of wondering if her boss was secretly dangerous. "You show up at my ex's wedding, hold my hand during the ceremony, and then some mysterious man calls you by a different name and you look like you've seen a ghost." "I think I deserve some answers." Victoria studied her for a long moment. "You're right. You do." She set down her champagne, "But not here. Meet me on the East Terrace in 10 minutes. And Maya, don't tell anyone where you're going." She disappeared into the crowd before Maya could respond. The East Terrace overlooked the ocean, a stone platform surrounded by rose bushes. Maya waited in the darkness, the sounds of the reception muffled behind her. The moon was nearly full, painting the waves silver. "Thank you for coming." Victoria emerged from the shadows, and she'd removed her suit jacket. In just her white shirt and vest, she looked younger, less armored. Who was that man? Someone from a life I left behind. Victoria walked to the terrace railing, gripping it like she needed the support. His name is Dmitry Volkov. 5 years ago I knew him in Moscow. Moscow? Maya's mind raced. The man on the phone, he said your real name wasn't Victoria Ashford. Victoria turned sharply. What man? What phone call? Maya explained the anonymous call from 2 weeks ago. As she spoke, Victoria's expression grew darker. Someone warned you about me. And you still came to this wedding with me? Victoria asked. I figured if you wanted to hurt me, you'd had 2 years to do it. Victoria laughed, a short, sharp sound. Fair point. She was quiet for a moment, then. My birth name is Ekaterina Volkov. Katya, for short. I grew up in Moscow. My father was Dmitry's business partner. They ran a tech company that developed encryption software. Legitimate on the surface, but underneath... She paused. They were selling to people who shouldn't have had access to that kind of technology. Criminal organizations, rogue governments. Maya's stomach dropped. And you worked for them? I was 16 when I discovered what they were really doing. I tried to stop it. Went to the authorities. But my father had connections everywhere. Victoria's voice was hollow, so I did the only thing I could. I stole evidence, exposed them both, and disappeared. Witness protection brought me to America. I changed my name, started over. Built Tech Vista from nothing, determined to prove that technology could be used for good. And Dmitry served 3 years in a Russian prison. Got out 2 years ago. I thought he'd forgotten about me. Victoria's hands trembled on the railing. But he said someone's looking for me. Someone I thought was dead. Who? Before Victoria could answer, glass shattered somewhere inside the manor. A woman screamed. Then another. Victoria and Maya ran back to the ballroom, pushing through panicked guests. In the center of the dance floor, surrounded by broken champagne flutes and overturned chairs, Jennifer stood frozen, her wedding dress splattered with red wine. But it wasn't the ruined dress that had everyone staring. It was the photograph projected onto the ballroom's main screen, where the slideshow of romantic memories had been playing moments before. The image showed a much younger Victoria, Katya, standing beside a beautiful woman with long dark hair. They were holding hands, smiling at the camera with the kind of intimacy that suggested they were more than friends. The photo was time-stamped, Moscow, 2018. But it was the caption that made Maya's blood run cold. Ekaterina Volkov and Irina Petrov. One murdered her. One survived. Which is which? Victoria stared at the screen, all color draining from her face. Oh God, she whispered. Irina. The lights went out. In the darkness, someone grabbed Maya's arm and screamed. Who was Irina Petrov, and why does someone want Victoria to think she's still alive? Comment where you're watching from. This mystery is just getting started. The lights flickered back on, revealing chaos. Guests clustered in groups, whispering and filming on their phones. Jennifer was crying, her makeup streaming down her face as David tried to calm her. Security guards rushed in, demanding to know who'd tampered with the AV system. But Maya only had eyes for Victoria, who stood motionless in the center of the ballroom, staring at the now blank screen, as if she could still see the photograph burned into it. Ms. Ashford? Maya touched her arm gently. Victoria flinched, then seemed to remember where she was. We need to leave. Now. What? We can't just... Maya. Victoria gripped her shoulders, and her eyes were wild with something that looked like terror. Whoever put that photo up knows we're here. Knows we're together. We're not safe. Before Maya could argue, hotel security surrounded them. The head of security, a broad-shouldered man with a military bearing, addressed Victoria directly. Ma'am, I need you to come with me. We have questions about that image. I had nothing to do with... You were in the photograph, Ms. Ashford. Or should I say, Ms. Volkov. He pulled out his phone, showing them a screenshot someone had already captured and posted online. This is going viral. The caption claims you murdered someone. I think you can understand why we need to talk. Victoria's face went perfectly blank, her boardroom mask. I'm happy to cooperate, but I'd like to speak with my attorney first. I'm afraid that's not... Unless you're arresting her, She doesn't have to go anywhere. Maya stepped between Victoria and the security guard, surprising herself with her own courage. And if you are arresting her, I'm calling our lawyer right now. The security guard's eyes narrowed. And you are? Her assistant and her friend. Maya met his gaze steadily. We're guests at this wedding. If someone hacked your AV system to display false information, that's your security problem, not ours. For a moment, no one moved. Then David pushed through the crowd. Maya, what the hell is going on? Your boss is ruining our wedding. Your wedding is ruining itself. Maya shot back. Someone hacked your AV system. That's not Victoria's fault. The photo clearly shows a photograph from years ago with a caption anyone could have written. Maya was on a roll now, her lawyer instincts from her pre-MBA days kicking in. Unless you have actual evidence of a crime, you need to let us leave. The security guard looked uncertain. In the background, Jennifer was now full-on sobbing, and guests were streaming toward the exits. Fine, he finally said. But we'll need contact information, and if the police want to talk to you, Miss Ashford, you'll make yourself available. Of course. Victoria's voice was steady again. Maya, let's go. They didn't speak until they were in Victoria's helicopter, lifting off into the night sky. The wedding had descended into complete chaos below them. Police cars arriving, guests scattered across the lawn. The perfect society event transformed into a scandal. I'm sorry, Victoria said quietly. I've destroyed your evening. You didn't do this. Someone else did. Maya studied her boss's profile, illuminated by the helicopter's instrument panel. Who was Irina Petrov? Victoria was silent for so long that Maya thought she wouldn't answer. Then, the woman I loved. The woman I got killed. The helicopter banked over the dark ocean, and Victoria began to speak. Irina and I met at Moscow State University. I was studying computer science. She was studying journalism, investigating corruption. We were both young, idealistic, convinced we could change the world. Victoria's voice was distant, lost in memory. We fell in love. Secretly, of course. Russia in 2018 wasn't kind to people like us. Maya's chest tightened. And your father? Didn't know about us. Couldn't know. He was already involved in dangerous business. And any weakness, any leverage, could be used against him. Victoria's hands clenched in her lap. But Irina was investigating him. She'd discovered the illegal software sales, the connections to organized crime. She was going to expose everything. So you helped her. I gave her access to my father's files, passwords, financial records, everything she needed to bring him down. Victoria's voice cracked, and then she disappeared. Maya's breath caught. What happened? I don't know. She went to meet a source and never came back. 3 days later, they found her car at the bottom of the Moskva River. Empty. No body. The police ruled it an accident, said she'd driven off the road in bad weather. Victoria wiped her eyes roughly. But I knew. My father had found out about the investigation. About us. He'd had her killed. And the witness protection? I went to the FSB, Russian intelligence, told them everything. They made a deal. I'd testify against my father and Dmitri, and they'd get me out of Russia alive. Victoria laughed bitterly. I became the ghost I'd always feared becoming. New name, new country, new life. While Irina was just gone. The helicopter began its descent toward a private airfield outside Boston. Maya could see Victoria's hands shaking. But the caption, Maya said carefully, it said one of you murdered the other. One of you survived. That's the part I don't understand. Victoria looked at her, and her eyes were haunted. Irina's dead, Maya. I saw the investigation files. There was no body, but there was blood in the car. Her blood. DNA confirmed. She's been gone for 7 years. Then who wants you to think she's alive, and why? They landed at a small private airport, and Victoria's driver was waiting with her Tesla. The 2-hour drive back to San Francisco passed in tense silence, both women lost in their own thoughts. Maya's mind raced, the mysterious phone call, Dmitri's appearance at the wedding, the photograph and its accusatory caption. Someone was orchestrating this, but why? And why involve Maya? You should go home. Victoria said as they pulled up outside Maya's apartment building. This isn't your problem. You held my hand during a wedding ceremony, Maya pointed out. You told me about your past. You trusted me. That makes it my problem. Victoria's expression softened. Maya. Plus, I'm your executive assistant. Managing crises is literally in my job description. This isn't a scheduling conflict or an angry investor. Someone is trying to destroy me, and they're willing to use you to do it. Then we figure out who and why together. Maya surprised herself with her certainty. Somewhere between the helicopter and the car, she'd made a decision. I'm not leaving you alone with this. Victoria reached over and took Maya's hand. Her grip was warm, solid, real. Why are you doing this? Victoria asked softly. Because I care about you more than I should, Maya thought. Because seeing you scared made me realize how much you mean to me. Because somewhere in the last 2 years of working together, I fell for you and didn't even notice. Because it's the right thing to do, Maya said instead. Victoria studied her face in the dim light from the street lamps. You're remarkable. You know that? Before Maya could respond, her phone buzzed. Unknown number. Again, she answered on speaker. Hello? Ms. Chen. I see you didn't take my warning seriously. It was the same man from before, the Boston accent thicker now. You're still with her. Who is this? Victoria demanded. A pause. Hello, Katya. It's been a long time. Victoria went pale. That's impossible. You're dead? That's what you thought about Irina too, wasn't it? The man's voice was cold. Check your email, both of you. I've sent you something interesting. A preview of what's coming if you don't do exactly what I say. The line went dead. Maya and Victoria stared at each other, then simultaneously opened their phones. They each had a new email from an encrypted address. The subject line read, She's closer than you think. Maya clicked it open. Inside was a single video file. The video showed a woman in a dimly lit room. She had long, dark hair, sharp cheekbones, and even through the grainy footage, Maya could see she was beautiful. The same woman from the wedding photograph. Katya, the woman said in Russian-accented English. I know you think I'm dead. I know you've built a new life, but it's time to come home. You owe me that much. The camera moved closer. The woman's eyes were hollow, haunted. They're watching you. They know about Maya. If you want to keep her safe, you'll do exactly as they tell you. A pause. I never stopped loving you, even after everything you did. The video ended. Victoria's phone slipped from her fingers. That's Irina's voice. Her mannerisms. But it can't be. Could it be AI? Maya asked, thinking of TechVista's technology. A deep fake? Our software can't replicate that level of detail. The micro-expressions, the way she touches her hair, that scar on her left eyebrow from when she fell off her bike. Victoria's voice broke. Either someone has technology years beyond what exists, or Irina Petrov is alive. Maya's phone buzzed again. A text from the unknown number. You have 48 hours to transfer $50 million in Bitcoin to the following address. If you don't, the world learns the truth about what really happened in Moscow. And Maya Chen pays the price. Irina is waiting. Katya. Don't disappoint her again. Below the message was a Bitcoin wallet address and a countdown timer. 47, 59, 58, 47, 59, 57, 47, 59, 56. Victoria looked at Maya, and for the first time since they'd met, she looked completely lost. I don't have $50 million liquid, she whispered. And even if I did, I can't let them hurt you. Maya's mind raced. The pieces weren't fitting together. Why would Irina, if she was alive, help extort Victoria? Why involve Maya at all? And how did the mysterious caller know to warn her about Victoria in the first place? We need help, Maya said firmly. Professional help. Do you know anyone? There's one person. Victoria pulled out her phone. Someone I swore I'd never contact again. But if Irina really is alive, she'll know. Who? My sister. Maya blinked. You have a sister? I had a sister. Past tense. She was part of my father's business too. When I testified, I put her in prison along with him. Victoria's jaw tightened. Her name is Anastasia Volkov, and she's been out of prison for exactly 6 months. Is Irina really alive? And what does Victoria's sister know about all of this? If you're as obsessed with this mystery as I am, stay tuned. The truth is darker than anyone imagined. The California Institution for Women sat 2 hours south of San Francisco, a sprawling complex of beige buildings that looked more like a community college than a prison. Maya had insisted on coming, despite Victoria's protests. She's dangerous, Victoria had warned during the drive. Anastasia isn't like our father. She's smarter, more patient. And she's had 6 months to plan whatever revenge she has in mind. Does she know you're coming? I sent a visitor request last night. She approved it within an hour. Victoria's hands were tight on the steering wheel, which should terrify you. Anastasia never does anything without a reason. Now they sat in a sterile visiting room, waiting. Maya studied Victoria's profile, the tension in her jaw, the way her fingers drummed against the table. In the 3 years Maya had worked for her, she'd seen Victoria negotiate billion-dollar deals without flinching, but this meeting clearly terrified her. Tell me about her, Maya said softly. Anastasia is 2 years older than me. Brilliant, beautiful, completely amoral. Victoria's voice was flat. While I wrote code, she handled the business side of Father's operation. Money laundering. Client relationships. She could smile at a warlord over dinner and arrange his weapons shipment before dessert. And you testified against her. I testified against all of them. Father, Dmitri, Anastasia, the entire network. Victoria finally looked at Maya. She got 15 years. Father got 25. I destroyed my entire family to do the right thing. The door opened. Anastasia Volkov walked in, and Maya understood immediately why Victoria was afraid. Where Victoria was sharp and controlled, Anastasia was fluid and dangerous. She had the same gray eyes as her sister, but hers held a predatory intelligence that made Maya's skin prickle. Her prison uniform somehow looked elegant on her tall frame. She sat across from them, studying Maya with unnerving intensity before turning to Victoria. Little sister, you look successful. Anastasia's English had barely a trace of Russian accent. Tech Vista is very impressive. Father would have been proud if you hadn't destroyed him. I came to ask about Irina, Victoria said, ignoring the jab. Ah, yes, the great love of your life, the journalist who got you to betray your family. Anastasia leaned back in her chair. What about her? Is she alive? Anastasia smiled, straight to the point. That's why you were always Father's favorite, Katya. Even when you were destroying him, he admired your efficiency. Answer the question. Why would I know if your dead girlfriend is alive? Victoria pulled out her phone, showed Anastasia the video. Maya watched the older woman's face carefully, looking for any reaction. Anastasia's expression shifted. Surprise, then something that might have been fear, quickly masked. Interesting, Anastasia murmured. That's definitely her voice, her mannerisms, but what? But Irina Petrov is dead. I know because I'm the one who killed her. The room went silent. Maya felt her blood turn to ice. Victoria stood abruptly, her chair scraping loudly. You're lying. Am I? Anastasia remained calm. Sit down, Katya. Let me tell you what really happened in Moscow 7 years ago. Victoria sat slowly, her face drained of color. You thought Father killed Irina, Anastasia continued. But he didn't. He wanted to. She was a threat to the entire operation. But I convinced him to let me handle it. I told him I could scare her off, make her drop the investigation. You killed her, Victoria whispered. I tried to kill her. There's a difference. Anastasia's gray eyes were cold. I staged the car accident, ran her off the road. But when I checked the wreckage, she was gone. Just blood and an empty seatbelt. I assumed she'd crawled out and died in the river. The police certainly did, but you didn't find a body. No. Which is why I've spent the last 7 years wondering if she survived. Anastasia studied the video again. If this is real, if she's alive, then you have a much bigger problem than extortion, little sister. What do you mean? Irina Petrov dedicated her life to exposing corruption, to justice, to truth. Anastasia's smile was sharp. If she survived, and if she knows what you did, that you turned her into me, that you're the reason she spent 7 years in hiding, then this isn't about money. It's about revenge. Victoria recoiled as if slapped. I never turned her into you. I would never. Are you sure? Anastasia pulled a small photograph from her pocket. She must have had it approved for the visit. It showed Victoria and Irina together, but there was someone else in the frame, partially cropped out. Someone who looked like Anastasia. Where did you get this? Victoria breathed. From Irina's apartment, after she disappeared. Anastasia tapped the photo. This was taken 2 days before the accident. You invited me to meet her, Katya. You introduced us. You gave me her address. That's not... I was trying to convince you she wasn't a threat. I was trying to protect her. Maybe. Or maybe some part of you wanted me to handle the problem for you. Anastasia's voice was gentle, almost kind. Maybe you were tired of choosing between your family and your lover. Maybe you thought if she just went away, your life would be simpler. No. Victoria's voice broke. No, I loved her. Love and betrayal aren't mutually exclusive. You proved that when you testified against us. Maya reached under the table, found Victoria's hand, squeezed it. Victoria gripped back desperately. Why are you telling us this? Maya asked Anastasia. Because whoever is behind this extortion knows the truth, and they're using it to destroy Katya. Anastasia looked at her sister with something that might have been sympathy. If Irina really is alive, she thinks you betrayed her, led me straight to her, and now someone is using that pain to manipulate both of you. Who? Victoria demanded. Who would do this? I have a theory. Anastasia pulled out a second photo. This one showed Dmitry Volkov with a younger man. Mid-30s, handsome, with cold eyes. Recognize him? Victoria shook her head, but Maya gasped. That's the man from the wedding, the one who was talking to you on the terrace. Not Dmitry. The other one. Anastasia pointed to the younger man. That's Ivan Petrov, Irina's brother, and he's been looking for you for 7 years. Back in the car, Victoria drove in silence while Maya processed everything they'd learned. Irina's brother, Anastasia's confession, the possibility that Victoria had unknowingly led her lover to her death. Do you believe her? Maya finally asked. About killing Irina? Yes. Anastasia doesn't lie about her violence. She's proud of it. Victoria's voice was hollow. About me inviting her to meet Irina? I don't know. I don't remember doing it, but those years were chaos. I was terrified, trying to manage impossible situations. Maybe I did introduce them, thinking I could... You can't blame yourself, can't I? Victoria's knuckles were white on the steering wheel. If Irina survived that accident and spent 7 years thinking I betrayed her, then Anastasia is right. This is about revenge, not money. Maya's phone buzzed. A new email from the encrypted address. Visiting your sister was smart, but you're running out of time. 36 hours until the world learns what you did. Unless you want Maya Chen to learn it first, you'll start arranging the transfer. And Katya? Irina says hello. Attached was another video. This one showed Irina in what looked like an abandoned warehouse. She was holding a newspaper with today's date. Tell Katya I forgive her, Irina said to the camera. But forgiveness doesn't mean I've forgotten. She needs to pay for what she took from me. 7 years of my life, my career, my future. She paused. And if she doesn't pay, Maya Chen will understand what it feels like to lose everything. The camera panned to show a second figure in the shadows. Maya couldn't make out details, but something about the silhouette made her skin crawl. Who is that? Victoria whispered. The figure stepped into the light. It was Maya. Not a photo. Not a video. Maya herself, unconscious, tied to a chair in what appeared to be the same warehouse where Irina was filming. Victoria slammed on the brakes, pulling over so violently the car skidded. That's impossible, Maya said, her voice shaking. I'm right here. I'm with you. They both stared at Maya's phone, at the video of her unconscious double. It has to be a deep fake, Victoria said. But she didn't sound convinced. Maya's phone rang. Unknown number. She answered with shaking hands. Hello? Check your apartment, the voice said. Not the Boston accent from before, but a woman's voice, Russian, cold. We left you a present. The line went dead. They made it to Maya's apartment in 20 minutes, Victoria driving like the law didn't apply to her. Maya's hands shook as she unlocked the door. The apartment was exactly as she'd left it that morning. Nothing disturbed. Nothing missing. Except for the dress hanging on her bedroom door. The emerald green dress, the one Maya was currently wearing. "Oh God," Maya whispered. Victoria picked up the note pinned to the dress's collar. "This is what Maya wore to the wedding. The question is, when did we take it? Before you left for Martha's Vineyard, or after? Are you sure you know where Maya has been every moment of the last 48 hours? Maya felt dizzy. "Victoria, I've been with you almost constantly since the wedding. Except when you went home to change, the night before the wedding." Victoria's face was pale. "You were alone for 2 hours. But I would have noticed if someone broke in. If someone—" Maya stopped. "Unless I didn't. Unless someone drugged me, took the dress, took photos, took—" She couldn't finish the thought. Victoria pulled her into a tight embrace. "We're going to figure this out. I promise." But over Victoria's shoulder, Maya saw something that made her blood freeze. On her laptop screen, a message had appeared. "You have 30 hours. The next video shows what happens to Maya if you don't pay, and this time, it won't be a deep fake." Below it, a live stream link. Maya clicked it with shaking hands. The stream showed a room, the same warehouse from the video. In the center, tied to a chair, was a woman with her head covered by a black hood. The timestamp said, "Live." Someone was holding Maya Chen captive in a warehouse somewhere in the San Francisco Bay Area. The only question was, which Maya? Is the woman in the warehouse real? Is Irina really alive? Or is someone using her memory to destroy Victoria? We're getting close to the truth. Comment what you think is really happening. I need your theories. We need to call the police. Maya paced her apartment while Victoria studied the live stream on her laptop. This is kidnapping, extortion. We can't handle this alone. If we call the police, whoever has her will know. They'll hurt her. Hurt you. To prove a point. Victoria's voice was steady, but her hands shook slightly. We need to think this through. Think what through? Someone has kidnapped my duplicate and is holding her hostage for $50 million. That's what bothers me. Victoria stood, began pacing in the opposite direction. If Irina really is alive and wants revenge, why the money? Why not just expose me? Destroy Tech Vista. She has video evidence, photos, the whole story. She could ruin me with a single press release. Maya stopped pacing. You're right. This doesn't make sense. Unless... Victoria pulled up the video of Irina again, studying it frame by frame. Unless someone else is orchestrating this. Using Irina's pain, real or fabricated, to manipulate both of us. Ivan Petrov, her brother. Or Dmitri. Or Anastasia, playing some long game from prison. Victoria rubbed her temples. Or someone we haven't even considered yet. Maya's phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Getting close to the truth, Maya? Good. You're smarter than Katya gave you credit for. Check your email. I've sent you something she won't want you to see. Maya opened her email with shaking hands. The message contained a single PDF, what looked like financial records from Tech Vista. What is this? Maya scrolled through pages of transactions, shell companies, offshore accounts. Victoria, are these your company's books? Victoria came to look over her shoulder. Her face went white. These aren't real, she said quietly. Someone's fabricated these to make it look like Tech Vista is laundering money. Are you sure? Because these account numbers, Maya pulled up Tech Vista's actual financial software on her laptop. These are real accounts, Victoria. I process transactions through some of these every week. But not these amounts. Not these destinations. Victoria pointed to a series of transfers. Look, $5 million to this shell company in the Caymans. $10 million to this one in Singapore. That never happened. Then how do these records show it did? Victoria was quiet for a long moment. Someone has access to our financial systems. Someone internal. Maya felt cold dread wash over her. You think there's a mole at Tech Vista? I think someone has been setting this up for months, maybe years, creating fake trails, building a case against me. Victoria sat down heavily. If these records become public, Tech Vista collapses. Our investors flee. The board removes me. and any chance I had of proving my innocence dies with the company. So this isn't about Irina at all. It's about destroying Tech Vista. Or it's about both. Victoria pulled up the live stream again. The hooded figure hadn't moved. Someone wants my company, my reputation, and $50 million. They're using Irina's story, my guilt, to keep me paralyzed while they execute their plan. Maya's mind raced. The pieces were there, scattered across 3 countries and 7 years. She just needed to put them together. The phone call, she said suddenly. The first one, weeks ago. The man warned me about you, told me you were dangerous. But he also said something else, that Victoria Ashford didn't exist 5 years ago, that you'd been someone else. Common knowledge if you dig deep enough. But he said you were planning something, that I was part of it. Maya grabbed her laptop, pulled up her call logs. What if he wasn't warning me about you? What if he was testing me, seeing if I'd trust you despite the warning? Victoria's eyes widened, setting up a narrative. If this all goes public, they can claim you were my accomplice, that you helped me embezzle funds, except I didn't. And anyone who looks at the actual evidence will see that. Will they? Victoria pulled up the fabricated financial records. Look at this transaction. $5 million moved through an account I supposedly control. Authorized by... She stopped. Oh no. What? The authorization code. It's yours, Maya. Your executive access code. Maya felt the floor drop out from under her. That's impossible. I never authorized any transfers that large. I know you didn't, but whoever fabricated these records made it look like you did. Victoria's voice was gentle. They're framing both of us. If this becomes public, we both go down. Maya's phone rang. She answered without thinking. Hello, Maya. It was the woman's voice again, the Russian accent, cold and precise. I see you've discovered the financial records. Impressive. You're quicker than I expected. Who are you? Maya demanded. I'm someone who was betrayed by Ekaterina Volkov. Someone who lost everything because of her selfishness. Someone who has waited 7 years for this moment. Irina? A pause. You want to know if I'm real? Come find out. There's an address in your email. Come alone. Both of you. You have 1 hour. And if we don't? Then I release the financial records to the SEC, the FBI, and every major news outlet simultaneously. Tech Vista collapses. You both go to prison for fraud and embezzlement. And the woman in this warehouse, the real Maya Chen, dies. There is no real Maya. I'm right here. Are you? The woman laughed. How do you know? Have you checked your reflection lately? Are you certain you're who you think you are? The line went dead. Maya stared at her phone, then at Victoria. She's trying to make us doubt reality, gaslight us into paralysis. Or she's telling the truth. Victoria stood. We need to go to that address. It's obviously a trap. Of course it's a trap. But it's also our only play. Victoria grabbed her car keys. Whoever is behind this wants to destroy us. The only way to stop them is to confront them directly. You don't have to do this, Maya said quietly. You could run. Disappear like you did before. I'll handle the fallout. Victoria crossed the room, cupped Maya's face in her hands. I'm done running. I'm done letting fear make my decisions. She leaned in, rested her forehead against Maya's, and I'm not leaving you. Not now. Not ever. For a moment, they stood there, breathing the same air. The world narrowed to just the two of them. Then Maya kissed her. It was soft, tentative, a question more than a statement. But Victoria kissed back, and suddenly nothing else mattered. Not the extortion, not the kidnapping, not the fabricated financial records. Just this moment, this connection, this truth between them. When they pulled apart, Victoria smiled. The first genuine smile Maya had seen from her in days. I've wanted to do that for a very long time, Victoria admitted. Me too. Maya took her hand. Now let's go save the day and figure out which of us is the clone. The address led them to an abandoned cannery on the Oakland waterfront. The building loomed against the night sky, all broken windows and rusted metal. Victoria parked 2 blocks away. Last chance to call the police, she said. And tell them what? That my maybe clone is being held hostage by my boss's possibly dead ex-girlfriend? Maya checked her phone. We have 15 minutes. They approached the building carefully. The front door was unlocked. Another sign this was a trap. Inside, the cannery was a maze of old equipment and shadows. "Hello?" Victoria called out. "We're here. Top floor." A voice echoed down. The Russian woman. "Come alone. I'll know if you're armed." They climbed 3 flights of stairs, their footsteps echoing in the emptiness. The top floor was a single large room, moonlight streaming through broken skylights. In the center stood a woman. She was tall, dark-haired, beautiful in a haunted way. She wore black, and in the dim light, she looked exactly like the woman from the photographs. "Irina?" Victoria breathed. "Hello, Katya." The woman smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. "You look well. Success suits you. I thought you were dead. You hoped I was dead. There's a difference." Irina gestured to a chair beside her. "Sit. We have much to discuss." Victoria didn't move. "Where's Maya?" "Which one?" Irina laughed. "That's the question, isn't it? The one standing next to you, or the one tied up in the corner?" She pointed, and Maya's heart stopped. In the shadows, slumped in a chair with a black hood over her head, was another figure. Same build, same clothes. "That's impossible," Maya whispered. "Is it?" Irina walked over to the hooded figure, pulled off the hood. The face revealed was Maya's, exactly. Every detail, every feature. But the eyes were closed, the body unconscious. "Oh my God," Victoria said. "Not God. Technology." Irina smiled. "You should recognize it, Katya. After all, you helped build it." Maya felt dizzy. "That's not me. That can't be me. Can it?" Irina produced a knife, cut the duplicate's bonds. The figure slumped forward, and Irina caught her gently. "Maya, wake up." The duplicate's eyes opened. She looked around, confused, frightened. What happened?" "Victoria, I'm right here," Victoria said. But she was looking between the 2 Mayas, horror dawning on her face. "She's a clone," Maya said. "Or an android. Or—" "She's you," Irina interrupted. 6 weeks ago, we took samples, hair, skin cells, ran them through a process that cost more money than you'll ever see in your lifetime, and we created her. Perfect duplicate. Down to the DNA. That's impossible. Cloning doesn't work that way. The age difference alone. Regular cloning doesn't. But TechVista's AI technology, combined with some very illegal bioengineering. Irina's smile was cruel. Turns out Katya's company has been working on more than just software, though she didn't know it. "Did you, Katya?" Victoria shook her head slowly. "No. TechVista doesn't do biological research. TechVista doesn't. But some of your board members have side projects, funded by people who want very specific things." Irina circled them like a predator. They wanted to create perfect duplicates, for espionage, for replacement, for control, and they've been using your AI to accelerate the growth process, neural imprinting, all of it. Maya felt sick. "So you're saying—" "I'm saying one of you is 6 weeks old, has implanted memories, believes she's lived Maya Chen's entire life. But she hasn't. She's a construct." Irina looked between them. "The question is, which one?" Silence. Maya looked at her hands, her body, searching for some sign she was different, but everything felt real. Her memories were intact. The kiss with Victoria moments ago had been real. She was certain of it. "This is insane," Victoria said. "Even if the technology exists, why? What's the point?" "Because I needed leverage." A new voice, male, with a Boston accent. A man emerged from the shadows. Mid-30s, handsome, cold eyes. Ivan Petrov. "You," Victoria breathed. "You're behind all of this." "Guilty." Ivan smiled. "Though technically, Irina is my partner in this endeavor. We've been planning it for 7 years. Ever since my sister crawled out of that river, more dead than alive." "I don't understand," Maya said. "If this is about revenge, why the elaborate setup? Why the clone?" "Because revenge is boring. Killing Katya would be too quick. Too easy." Ivan walked over to Irina, put his arm around her waist. We wanted her to suffer, to lose everything, the way Irina lost everything. Her company, her reputation, her freedom, and most importantly, he looked at Maya. The woman she loves. Victoria stepped in front of Maya protectively. Touch her and I'll... You'll what? You're standing in an abandoned building with 2 Maya Chens and no way to tell which is which. Even if you call the police, even if you survive the night, you'll spend the rest of your life wondering if the woman you're with is the real Maya Chen or a 6-week-old clone with implanted memories. That's sick, Victoria said. That's justice, Irina countered. You took 7 years of my life, Katya. You betrayed me to your sister. You chose your family over me, over us. And then you disappeared, started over, built a fortune while I... Her voice cracked. While I lived in hiding, afraid. Alone. Broken. I never betrayed you, Victoria said desperately. I loved you. I still... Love? Irina laughed bitterly. You don't know what love is. If you did, you wouldn't be here with her. She gestured at Maya. Some assistant you've known for 2 years, while I spent 7 years in hell. 3 years, Maya said quietly. Everyone looked at her. I've worked for Victoria for 3 years, not 2. Maya stepped forward, which you'd know if you'd done your research properly. But you didn't. Because this isn't about me at all, is it? This is about destroying Victoria emotionally, and you needed me, or a version of me, to do it. Ivan's smile faltered slightly. And the financial records, Maya continued, her confidence growing. They're real, aren't they? But not from Tech Vista. From whatever illegal bioengineering operation you're running. You embedded them with Tech Vista's codes to frame Victoria, but the actual money came from your operation. Very good, Irina said coldly. But it doesn't matter. Even if you figure out the truth, we still have leverage. We still have your clone. And we still have the power to destroy everything Katya has built. Do you? Victoria pulled out her phone. Because while you were monologuing, I was recording this entire conversation, sending it directly to my attorney, the FBI, and the SEC. They'll be here in approximately... She checked her watch. 3 minutes. Ivan's face went white. You're bluffing. Am I? Victoria smiled. You should know by now, I don't bluff. I execute. Sirens wailed in the distance, growing louder. Irina grabbed Maya, the unconscious one, and Ivan pulled out a gun. We're leaving, he said, with her. And if you try to stop us... Victoria held up her hands. Let her go. Please. Whatever she is, she doesn't deserve this. Neither did Irina, Ivan said. But there was uncertainty in his voice now. The sirens were closer. Irina survived, Maya said suddenly, looking at the woman. You said she crawled out of the river, which means Anastasia didn't kill you. You got away. Barely, Irina whispered. But you got away. You survived. You rebuilt. Maya took a step closer. I know what that feels like, to have everything taken from you and have to start over. It's terrifying. But you did it. You're strong enough to do it without revenge. You don't understand. I do. Better than you think. Maya gestured to her duplicate. Whether that's me or I'm her, one of us is 6 weeks old and believes she's lived an entire life. One of us is a person who deserves a chance to exist, to choose, to be more than a weapon in someone else's revenge. Irina looked at the unconscious Maya, then at Ivan. She's right. This has gone too far. Irina, we planned this for years, and I'm ending it now. Irina gently laid the duplicate Maya on the ground. I loved you, Katya. Part of me still does. But this isn't love. It's poison. And I'm done letting it destroy me. The door burst open. FBI agents flooded in, weapons drawn. In the chaos that followed, arrests, questions, EMTs checking both Mayas for injury, Victoria never let go of the conscious Maya's hand. 3 months later, Maya sat in Victoria's office, watching the sunset over San Francisco Bay. Tech Vista had survived the scandal. The illegal bioengineering operation had been shut down. Irina and Ivan were awaiting trial. And both Mayas existed. DNA tests had been inconclusive. They were identical down to the cellular level. Neither could prove she was the original. So they'd made a choice. They were both real. Both Maya Chen. They just split the name, split the life. The other Maya, who'd chosen to go by May, was in Seattle now, starting fresh with a new job, new identity, new life. They texted sometimes. It was weird, but it worked. "Penny for your thoughts?" Victoria came up behind Maya, wrapped her arms around her waist. "Just thinking about how weird my life has become. Weird but good? Weird but perfect." Maya turned in Victoria's embrace. "Though I still can't believe you convinced me to become COO. You're brilliant, capable, and you saved my company. Also my life. And possibly my soul." Victoria kissed her forehead. "Promoting you was the easiest decision I've ever made. Even easier than deciding which Maya to date?" "Especially easier than that," Victoria grinned. "Though May did text me last week asking if I was free for coffee." "She did not." "She did. I politely declined and told her my girlfriend would probably object." "Damn right I would." Maya pulled Victoria closer. "You're mine." Both Mayas agree on that. They kissed as the sun set over the city, painting the sky in shades of gold and pink. In the distance, Alcatraz Island stood sentinel in the bay, a reminder that even the strongest prisons couldn't hold determined souls. Somewhere in San Francisco, May Chen was having a similar moment, kissing her own girlfriend, living her own life, being her own person. 2 Mayas, 2 lives, 2 chances at happiness, and all because one executive assistant had accidentally sent a wedding invitation to the wrong person. "Want to know a secret?" Victoria murmured against Maya's lips. "Always." "I'm glad you made that mistake. Best accident of my life." Maya smiled. "Mine too. Both of mine." And somewhere in the office below, the printer kicked on, spitting out the first draft of the press release. TechVista announces new ethics division. COO Maya Chen to lead oversight. The world kept turning. Companies kept building. People kept falling in love. And sometimes, the greatest mysteries had the simplest solutions. Choose love over fear, truth over revenge, and when in doubt, bring both versions of yourself to the party. After all, life was too short to live just once. The end. What did you think of this wild ride? Would you want to know if you were the clone or the original? If you loved this story, hit that subscribe button and tell me in the comments. Which twist shocked you the most?